Is it a good day to get Eric back in there, being his former team?
It is. I think our team will be excited for Eric to go back in there. And you have 3 goalies, and we've had lots of games, and you got to be able to use your guys. And this is a good fit. Combs is a hard worker. He knows this building and this team well, and I think, as I mentioned, there's some enthusiasm for him within our group.
Also give you confidence because he's used to going time between games. The way that he works, that it's not like there's going to be a big, challenge there for him specifically.
Yeah, this is a role he's played in his career, and he's done very well. Recently, as recent as last year, in a role like this where you're not playing a lot of games. Last year being, played behind Hellebuck, and so he works really hard in between games. He's the first guy on the ice and the last guy off, and we have lots of guys that like to stay on and go on early, but he tops them all and keeps himself ready to go. So I look forward to having him in there tonight.
How have you seen him handle this stretch of not getting a ton of games and just being back in that role like you mentioned?
He's handled it great. He is beyond a worker, and we've talked about bringing people in our organization that want to be there and are excited and love and have passion for the game of hockey, for their team, community, all of that, and he exemplifies all those. He has all those intangible, great qualities, and a growing NHL experience. He's been around the game a lot, and he's still young and energetic. So, good combination.
How have you continued to help this group work on its game without the practices? Because obviously the plan, not the practices, work. You guys look fresh.
Yeah, we need to look fresh, as I said. That's a major priority for us. But you supplement it with the time that you'd spend on the ice. You have more meeting time. There's only so much the players can take each day when they walk in the building. So if you're not skating, you supplement it with more video, more one-on-one, meetings or discussions, and our guys have and are responding well to that.
Is that something that can be different from team to team that you start to learn as the year goes on, just how much practice time they need and how to balance that?
Yeah, I think it's a read and react for any team, any group you have, as it was in this situation. I didn't like, when we got into this grind of 12 games in 20 days or 21 days. Not sure which one it is, but it's a grind. We did practice. We had back-to-back and skated or every other day for a couple, and we skated in between there, and it just wasn't working for us. I didn't think our guys were fresh. So it was right there, a quick change, and say we have to adjust to this because we need to be fresh. We're a much better team. We're a different team when we're fresh. I mean, some of the games were adding up that we just looked, and I've said post game we didn't look like ourselves, and we were exhausted and drained, and I could tell the emotional energy we didn't have it. So for us, it was pretty clear and evident after a couple of reps that we need to make sure we back off in some area to allow our guys to be fresh, and cutting practices was one factor.
What's Rasmus Dahlin done to elevate his game this year on a consistent level?
The defensive side of the game is much easier for him to start. He really has taken it to heart to improve, target and improve any area defensively. I know from the point when I took over, I think everybody was drawn to his offense, but his commitment behind the scenes, dedication behind the scenes to defend and defend quicker has been a significant key. There is no stress to him defensively anymore. He does not stress out, wonder whether he should cover here or cover there. He's now operating from on the defensive side at an instinctive level, so there's no burden or stress defensively, so he can get to offense immediately, and that's a significant change.
And just a quick one on Josh Morrissey. You only see him twice a year. What's maybe stood out to you about his game?
Compete. Very, very competitive guy and determined player. So, when you go through the film, this is the NHL, so there's talent on every team, and and the talent jumps out to you pretty quick. And you know, you roll through the video on Winnipeg, lots of talented forwards, and then a guy that can complement that. It just stands out significantly when you watch him.
What have you noticed about Peyton Krebs? I know he's had a couple of fights, but also just the way he's adapting to playing between Zemgus and Kyle and embracing that role in that center spot.
Yeah, did you know you were smiling when you said a couple of fights? Your face was straight serious, and you started smiling as soon as you had a couple of fights. So he is Kyle and Zemgus on the wings. Krebs has picked up and then learned more of how to simplify the game. He's putting more of a base, a sound base together, and on a flip of that would be hopping out on the ice and trying to make a perfect play every single possession without a base of knowing, okay, I might not have the ideal play that I want. What is the simplest thing to do in this scenario? And very straightforward and direct manner, and that's Kyle Okposo and Zemgus Girgensons. That's their experience. They know how to keep a game simple, hard, and direct. And Krebsy's adding that to his game, and he's never had to have that in his game. He's been able to impose his skill and will on his opponents until he got to the NHL, and so he never had a chance to work on a base, and that base can make you -1 in this league pretty quick. So Peyton's done a great job of building that base, and you see him as a consequence get better every day and more confident every day, and all the skill we know he had and showed in junior is not far away from being seen at this level.
I know it was kind of a weird call on that face-off, the penalty he got, but him being out there in that situation seemed pretty significant in terms of the confidence you have in him in that spot. How big of a moment was that for him that you put him out there in that spot and didn't seem to think twice about it?
Yeah, you have to show your guys that you believe in them, and that means you're going to have to put them in challenging and difficult situations where it could go the wrong way. But if we want our guys to grow and to compete and to be successful in the future, you've got to get them in those situations. They got to soak up that experience. You know, whether there's a positive or negative result is a whole other thing. And if we're afraid to put them in that situation, what messages are we sending to our guys? And we ask them to be fearless as a team, as coaches, and we got to be able to put them in those situations. So I was excited for Krebsy in that situation. I thought, he wouldn't be put in that situation if I doubted his competitiveness, his drive, his determination to succeed. Maybe he's not going to succeed, but if he has those ingredients, I'm putting him out there because he'll learn from it, and he'll be a better player as a result. If he's not competitive, if he's timid, he's going to make a mistake that he probably won't really learn from. But Krebsy's done a nice job, and he's earned that right to be put in those positions, and I was excited to have that opportunity for him late in the game the other day.
Seems like you got a pretty upbeat group. Can that be a benefit down the stretch? I mean, for a team that hasn't had a ton of playoff success or whatever, do you think that can be a benefit down the stretch where, some teams might get tight, but your group is maybe loose in a kind of good way and they kind of maybe relish being in that fight?
Yeah, I don't worry. You mentioned playoff success. I think that's completely irrelevant. That's
been to the playoffs for a while.
Yeah, I think it's competition. It's compete, and you've got to find ways to elevate. You get on that ice, and we were in some tough buildings this year, and the pace was and the competitiveness was above what we started in that game. And you got to recalibrate in a minute. You got to step up to the plate and elevate your compete. Our guys have done that really well, and they enjoy that. So there's some occasions, like every team does it though, but there's some occasions you go out on that ice and some points veteran teams are trying to conserve energy, and the opponent sets the competitive level higher than they're willing to go, and they got to question and they got to answer the bell and say, hey, we got to elevate our compete or this game's not going to be ours. And that's the game of hockey. That's the game of life, really. And so we look at it that way. Our guys embrace it. You don't know how competitive this game is going to be. You go out, and if somebody sets the bar higher, you better be ready to respond. And our guys have enjoyed that challenge every night. And you're not going to sustain it 60 minutes, so you're going to lose some momentum swings the other way. And those are those are learning and teaching moments too for us, as they would be for any team, to regain momentum, to minimize damage, and to get back to the ones that set the tone and set the pace. And that's how we approach it. Our guys have embraced that, and there's a lot more challenge ahead for us, but I think the mindset is pretty good in that regard.
Any lineup changes?
None right now, no.